the Word, different classes tonight, that you will just speak to our hearts. And just remind us that you are always faithful, and you can't be anything other than that. And we just thank you for who you are. In Jesus' name.
As we did worship, listening to that song, you know, sometimes we have everything we want, but we don't have what we need. Does that make sense? Let's pray. Jesus, we thank you for this night, Lord. I pray, Lord, of my words, of your words, Lord. And I pray that our hearts are open to hear these words, Lord. And I pray that I deliver them well, Lord, for your glory and not mine. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I had a joke I was going to tell y'all. And I was going to tell it really to fill time. And as we was worshiping, I thank the Lord told me, you don't need to tell no jokes. Just do what you're supposed to do. And I can tell jokes later. I'm going to talk about, I'll set this out. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to start off with the fruit of the Spirit. But that's not really what I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to start off with that because sometimes we get the fruit of the Spirit mixed up with the gifts of the Spirit. And I really want to talk about the gifts of the Spirit. And I'm not going to really get to say a whole lot about the gifts of the Spirit because there's a whole lot to say. And we really could take several Wednesdays talking about the gifts of the Spirit. And I think it's something that we miss a lot of times because we don't talk about the gifts of the Spirit. And they are gifts that are meant for the body. And there's a lot of reasons that we don't use all the gifts, or some of the gifts, or maybe not even none of them. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. But this is the fruit of the Spirit is how, as a Christian, if we got the Holy Spirit living in us, and I can't say I'm always this way, but this is how we should be. So the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I wish I was all them things all the time. But that's what we strive to be. We should be that. Against such things there is no law. You don't need a law. If you're doing all the things, you're not going to break the law. Those who belong to Christ, Jesus, have crucified the sinful nature with its passions and desires. Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking, and envying each other. And these are our characteristics, how we should be. And for different reasons or different things, sometimes we're not like that every day. But the fruit of the Spirit is the characteristics of a Christian. But the gifts of the Spirit are things that the Holy Spirit or Jesus or God has given us. And they can be used in a lot of ways, probably outside the body. But if we're going to read 1 Corinthians chapter 12, I'm going to read half of it to start with. Tell you what it gives off. But they're primarily made for the body of Christ. There is some examples where you use them other places, but they're primarily made for the body of Christ. I'm going to read chapter 12. I'm going to read verse 1 to 11. And this is going to tell you what the gifts of the Spirit are. It says, now by spiritual gifts, brothers, I do not want you to be ignorant. Now this is Paul talking to the Corinthians. You know that when you were pagans, somehow or other, you were influenced or led astray to mute idols. Therefore I tell you that no one who is speaking by the Spirit of God says Jesus be cursed. And no one can say Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Spirit. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but the same God works all of them and all men. So it doesn't say just a few men or somebody else, it says all men. Now to each one the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. It's not given for bad things. It's not given to jump on somebody about something. It's good. They're given to the common good. To one there is given through the Spirit the message of wisdom. To another the message of knowledge by means of the same Spirit. To another faith by the same Spirit. To another of healing by that one Spirit. To another miraculous powers. To another prophecy. To another distinction between spirits. To another speaking in tongues. And still to another the interpretation of tongues. All these are the works of one and the same Spirit. And he gives them to each one just as he determines. Now, the names of the gifts of the Spirit, I just read them. The wisdom, which I think there's some people in here in our body that has the gift of wisdom. Knowledge, I think there's some people that have the gift of knowledge. Faith, I think we have people that have the gift of faith. Healing is a gift of, I really like one night really talk about the gift of healing. There was a guy who was, I think he came around the turn of the 19th century. His name was Wigglesworth, and he was a plumber. He had the gift of healing. He could go in a hospital, and these are proven facts. It's not just make-believe stories, but go in there and absolutely touch somebody, pray for them, and they would be healed. His wife died, and he healed her. She came back to life, and she got mad because she said, "Why did you bring me back? I was enjoying being gone." But so I mean, there is, praying for people and healings is a way, but there is a certain gift of healing, and that miraculously powers. I'm not exactly what all them powers would be, but I would like them to spirit discernment, speaking in different kinds of tongues, and interpretation of tongues. Now I'm going to read the rest of the chapter, and it's going to talk about, which I already told you all this, it's going to talk about the body. And I like the way they describe the body. They use the human body to describe the body of Christ. It says the body is a unit, though it is made up of many parts, and though all its parts are many, they form one body. So it is with Christ. For we are all baptized by one Spirit into one body, whether Jews or Greeks, slave or free, and we were given one Spirit to drink. Now the body is made up of one, but many not. But now the body is not made up of one part, but many. If the foot should say, "Because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body," it would not, for that reason, cease to be part of the body. So if you say you're not something, that doesn't mean you don't belong to the body. You still belong to the body. And if the ears would say, "Because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body," it would not, for that reason, cease to be part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has arranged the parts of the body, every one of them, just as He wanted them to be. And if they was all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. And the hand cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. I can't say to any of y'all, I don't need you. Y'all are part of this body. On the contrary, those parts of bodies that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And the parts that we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor. And the parts that are unpresentable are treated with special modesty. While our presentable parts need no special treatment, but God has combined the members of the body and has given greater honor to the parts that lack it. So there should be no division in the body, but its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is part of it. And in the church, God has appointed, first of all, apostles, second prophets, third teachers, and workers of miracles, and those having gifts of healing, those able to help others, those with gifts of administration, and those speaking in different kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Do all work miracles? Do all have the gifts of healing? Do all speak in tongues? Do all interpret? The eager desire the greatest gifts. Now, if you go on and read chapter 13, it talks about love. And that's the love chapter. I love that chapter also. But the gifts of the Spirit and the gifts for the body and I think some of the gifts are not some, they're all supernatural, but some of them don't. If somebody was to give you the word of wisdom, I think that would be just as supernatural as somebody doing instantaneously miracle like healing somebody. They're both supernatural, but one would seem like it would be more supernatural than the other. But they're not. But in our minds, because of the way we think sometimes, certain things are more miracles than other things. But if somebody has the gift of wisdom or the gift of knowledge, it's just as important as somebody who has the gift of healing. And one of the reasons people don't talk about the gifts much is I think fear is one of the reasons. I remember when I'm not going to say first become a Christian, but when I first really come back to the Lord, and the charismatic, I'm saying that correctly, charismatic movement, people, they were doing a lot of stuff back then, and they still are, a lot of churches, and we are too in this church. This church was, I guess, the first non-traditional church I came to in my life. And the music was different, the people was different, and I seen a lot of gifts of the Spirit that were here. And sometimes the gifts, because they get abused, we kind of get away from them, and we kind of get fearful of the gifts. And the one that everybody trips over and just says, oh, either y'all for it or y'all against it, is the speaking in tongues. And I'm not even going to really try to explain all that tonight, but that's the biggest gift that people really trip over. There's been denominations founded on speaking in tongues. There's been denominations that have changed because they don't believe in speaking in tongues, vice versa. So I'm not going to go in it, but it would be a good lesson to have on that. But I think most of us, at least when I first came here, and we would have different speakers come at different times. And some of them, one guy, Randy, Karen brought on two here that was here when I was back then. Austin, Houston wasn't even born, I don't think. That's a long time ago, 1991, when I first came here. And there's a prophet guy used to come here. His name was Sidney Smith, was that his name? And I can't say I always believed him. As a matter of fact, I kind of felt bad when I was around him because I think he abused that gift. And so it causes people to get away from him because he would come up here and he would just, like he'd go to Austin and say, you're going to be rich one day. In 10 years, you're going to, have all this money. And I was really new in all this spiritual powers, whatever you want to call them. And so I kind of like, I don't know about that guy. And I really do think he kind of abused that gift. But I want to read Luke chapter 8 to you. Not the whole chapter, just part of it. Y'all know I'm not the best reader, but I love to read to myself. I can read really, I sound really good when I'm reading to myself, by myself. This is going to be verses 26 through 37. And this is when Jesus took them demons and put them in pigs. Chapter 8, verse 26. And me and Pat, we don't do it every Tuesday, but on Tuesdays we try to go see Skip. Most of y'all don't know Skip. Some of y'all do, but he's in a VA nursing home in Pell City. And what we do, we go and say hi, find out how he's doing. Skip's not a big talker. And then I read scripture to him. We started reading the book of Luke. I read a chapter each time we go see him. And I seen something in this when we read this chapter a couple of weeks ago that I never really, I've seen it before, but I never really thought much about it. And I'll tell you what it is after we read it. And they sailed to the region of Gerasenes, thank you, Pat, which is across the lake in Galilee. When Jesus stepped ashore, he was met by a demon-possessed man from the town. For a long time, this man had not worn clothes or lived in a house, but had lived in tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell at his feet, shouting at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torture me." For Jesus had commanded the evil spirit to come out of the man. Many times it had seized him, and though he was chained hand and foot and kept under guard. Now these people had this man chained. The people in the town were not afraid of him. They had him in lock and key. They knew just how to keep control of him. He had broken his chains and been driven by the demons into solitary places. Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "Legion," he replied, because many demons had gone into him. They begged him repeatedly not to order them to go into the abyss. Now, when they say the abyss, I'm not really sure. I should have looked up and found out, but I read that. I think it's a big cliff or something, but I'm not a canyon or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I think. A large herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside. The demons begged Jesus to let them go into them, and he gave them permission. When the demons came out of the man, they went into the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and was drowned. When those tending the pigs saw what had happened, they ran off and reported this to the town and countryside. And the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they found the man from whom the demons had gone out of him, sitting at Jesus' feet, dressed in his right mind. This is the part that I never knew. And they were afraid. Here they had this guy locked up in chains. Now he's free, clothes on, peaceful, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it told the people how the demon-possessed man had been cured. He had been cured. They knew it. They told people he had been cured. Then all the people in the region, whatever Pat said, asked Jesus to lead them because they were overcome with fear. So he got into the boat and he left. And they had just seen a great miracle. And the reason I read this is because they were afraid of something that Jesus did as a great miracle. And I think there's not much difference than we are sometimes. Sometimes we see a miracle of something, or if you don't see it, we just hear somebody talking about it, or somebody comes up and says, let me pray for you, let me do this, come up here. But we're afraid. We're afraid of what Jesus may do. We're afraid of what he may say. We're afraid of what he may do to our lives. When I was taught back in 1991, when I came back, I call rededicating my life back to Christ. When I did that, one of the things holding me back was I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to have any fun being a Christian. I really was. And I've had more fun and done more things being a Christian than I ever did before. But fear keeps us from doing a lot of things that we need to do. And fear does affect us in the gifts of the Spirit. And it should be something that we should ask for. It should be something that we really want. Because it's going to make us like we have the fruit of the Spirit in us. And this is how Jesus talks about things that we want and how a lot of times people talk about prayer and they say, well, I prayed for this, I prayed for that. And sometimes we do pray with the Bible talks about praying with the wrong motives or the wrong attitude, but sometimes we really have to get in there. You just got to cry out, you got to shout out and ask Jesus, I really want these things. But fear, change. I know people who have been in terrible situations, but because they have to change, maybe to a better situation, the fear of change keeps them from changing. All y'all know people like that. We all have. But that fear, and it's the same fear that we can have at times. But in Luke chapter 11, and this is how Jesus is telling something. First, he tells them about the Lord's Prayer. And then he tells them about boldness. Boldness. I just like the name boldness. I want to be bold. I'm not most of the time. But that's what I want to be. Then this is verse 5, chapter 11. I'm going to read down 13. Then he said to them, suppose one of you has a friend, and he goes to him at midnight and says, friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread, because a friend of mine on a journey has come to me, and I have nothing to set before him. Then the one inside answers. Now you're knocking at the door, and somebody inside answers. It says, the person inside says, don't bother me. The door is already locked, and all my children are in bed with me. I can't get up and give you anything. I tell you, though he will not get up and give him the bread because he is his friend, yet, because of the man's boldness, he will get up and give him as much as he needs. So I say to you, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will open to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds. And to him who knocks, the door will be open. Then it goes on to say, which of you fathers, if your son asks for a fish, will give him a snake instead? Or if he asks for an egg, will give him a scorpion? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father? It says gifts to your children. How much more will your Father in heaven give the Holy Spirit to those who ask him? Well, y'all see how old you are.
Amen. I wanted to ask something. I was wanting the fruit,
The what?
the fruit,
Oh, the fruit?
Yeah.
What the fruit of the Spirit are?
yeah,
The fruit of the Spirit?
yeah, like, the other one is like the other, speaking in tongues, they're supposed to have another,
The fruit of the Spirit, I just read at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's really characteristics of how our lives we learn from the Holy Spirit lives in us.
Yeah.
Gifts of the Spirit are things that God gives us to help, which I say to help the body of Christ is the main reason, which I just read in Corinthians. One of the first things I go back to, I kind of give a little testimony. Going back to 1991, I came back to church and dedicated my life. One of the things that God had embedded, I had such a hunger for the Word of God, and for, I have to use Randy Karen because they're the only ones who were here then. Lord met me here then. She probably a lot younger, I'm sure. but in every class, they had Randy taught a class back then. I went there. We had not Ann Gibson, but Ann Ashley. She taught, and she said, "Who wants to read?" Nobody would read. I said, "I'll read. I'll read." And I had such a hunger, and I wasn't married then. I was single, but everything the church did, I did. I wanted more. I wanted more. And even now, after all them years, I yearn for that hunger again. Randy taught at Life Group Sunday night, Ezra chapter 10, verse 4. I think that's what it was. And when they told Ezra to get up, sometimes we have to get up. And that really spoke to me. It really did. And you got to get up sometimes and go after these things. We sing a song in here, and I'm going to tell y'all, I love the beat of the song. I love it. Me and Don, he's not here now. We talk about. Now, I really don't like the song. I've told Rick this before. The song talks about Jesus knocking down mountains and going after us and seeking us. I tell you, God knows where we're at. He don't have to knock anything down. He knows right where each and every one of us are. It's we who don't know where He is at sometimes. We are the ones who should be knocking down mountains and going after Him. He knows where we are. We need to seek Him. He don't need to seek us. He knows where we are. He knows my address. I mean, that song, it's a nice song. I like it. I understand what it's trying to say, how God has given so much to us, but we need to be knocking down mountains. We need to be seeking Him. We need to be asking for these gifts, and these gifts are things we need to ask for. And I wish, I really would like to know, I really would like to be able to teach more of these gifts of the Spirit and really get more into them. Because I think it's something that we are missing in our body. I think we have some good gifts, and I think everybody has gifts that the Lord has given us. I think everybody doesn't use them all the time. And I think sometimes you may be standing here on Sunday morning and you may have a word of prophecy for somebody. But because of fear that they're going to think I'm crazy for getting up and saying this, you don't say it. It may be something I need to hear, it may be something Rick needs to hear. And the gift of prophecy is one of the more excellent gifts in the Bible. So, I really would like for us, well, for myself also, probably more for me than anybody else, to seek. I think if you seek the gifts of God, it will change your life. I think it will change each and every one of us. And I need to seek them more. I need to have that hunger. I need to get back up and do the things I should be doing. You know, I think the older you get a little lazy. And We need to. So, on the gifts of the Spirit, I'll ask that y'all go back and read 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Read the gifts of the Spirit. And that, I've seen people give out papers and you check off certain things and help you find what gifts you're good at and all that stuff. I guess all that stuff's good. I don't have nothing against it. We've done it here before. But I really think it's better if you pray about it and really seek God and knock and open that door and ask for His gifts. Don't be afraid to ask to see something miraculously happen. Because we need it. I'm going to give y'all one story that happened to me, and then I'll close. I went, several years ago, I went to Mexico. Me and this other guy, his name was Tim Crook. He used to go to church here for a while. And he knew a pastor that was in Mexico. And we didn't go to no association, nothing. We just bought plane tickets and went to Mexico to this pastor we knew down there. And went around to different churches. And we got to speak, and we got to pray for people, and we did a lot of different things. But the last Sunday we was there, Tim was supposed to get up and preach. And this other pastor from the States came down when we was there, and the pastor the Mexican pastor, his name's Herman, he lives here now, but who was there, he let this guy speak for a minute. He told Tim, he's just going to speak for a minute, and then you'll get up here and preach and do whatever you want to do. But that guy got up there, and he took the whole time. He spoke and spoke, and the more he spoke, the madder I got. And I thought, man, this ain't right. And he was talking about these gifts and how God wants to move in your life and stuff. Then he had people in the church down there, didn't have no walls, had a roof but no walls. And he had people lined up, and anybody want a prayer? I said, I ain't gonna let them pray for me. I done got mad. But so he started praying for people, and I'm telling you, y'all seen it on TV before. And but he started praying for people. People would just fall down. He ain't put his hands on me, because I don't believe that. I don't believe that can happen. So I became a catcher. I'd go just catching people, y'all seen it before, I catch people. I caught a few, and then, maybe he went back up to the pulpit, and it's like, I'm thinking, so, because I don't want to pray for me. I don't want that to happen. But then he said, I think I need to pray one more time. Then he come right down where I was, and there's several people around me. I couldn't escape. I was trapped, and he prayed for a couple others. Then he prayed for me, and y'all, I tell you, I went out. And it was like, when I come back, there was so much love in my heart. I hugged that guy and asked him to pray for me more. It changed me. But God knew what I needed. And I wasn't even asking for it then. But God gave it to me. And so, seek, and because of my fear, I almost missed it. And I say I was mad with more fear than anything. And I didn't want it. So, seek the gifts of the Spirit. They are so important in our daily life, in your daily life. But they're important, especially to the body of Christ. That's why he named it. That's why he talked about the body after he talked about the gifts that are important to us. Does anybody have any prayer requests?
Yeah, pray for that girl that was missing today.
Yeah.
And they found her yet.
Yeah, I'll send her on see you in Pelican.
Everybody involved with the whole situation in Munford.
Yes,
Amen.
that's terrible. Let's pray. Well, Jesus, we thank you, Lord, so much for everything. Lord, I pray, Lord, that this message speaks to me. I pray it speaks to everyone here tonight, Lord. It's your words, not my words, Lord. And we pray for all the ones who are sick, Lord. I know there's a lot of people sick. different diseases, Lord, I lift them all up to you and we pray for that family in Montford, Lord. I ask you to be with them, Lord, and tell them tragedy that was, Lord. And we pray for that little girl, tell them, Lord, who's missing. Didn't get on the school bus, Lord. I pray that you find her, and find her safe, Lord. Be with that family, Lord Jesus. And be with this body, Lord. And be with all the ones here tonight, Lord. We pray all these things, Jesus, in your name. Amen.
Amen.